Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Adenike Babalola, and today we're going to be looking at the IELTS Writing Task 2 discussion essay. Okay, so this is one of the questions where so many people are concerned about how many paragraphs you should have. Should you have 4 paragraphs or 5? Today you're going to look at a sample that I wrote. Okay, this is what your writing sheet looks like, when you get to the exam, or this is what you're going to see. And I have used this sample answer sheet to write a complete essay, and we're going to analyze it together right now. Okay, so the first question I have for you is, how do you recognize a discussion essay in the IELTS writing task? What do you see that makes you know that a question is a discussion essay? I'm going to use the Cambridge Academic, okay, the Cambridge IELTS Academic. All right, so this is where I took this question from. I'm going to page 53. Okay, we're going to look at the question together. Page 53. All right, I'm going to read it out loud to you so you understand what it looks like, what a discussion essay looks like. Now, the question says, some university students want to learn about other subjects in addition to their main subjects. Others believe it is more important to give all their time and attention to studying for a qualification. Discuss both these views and give your own opinion. Okay, so when you see a question that says discuss both these views and give your own opinion, you know that you're dealing with a discussion essay. Okay, this is what it looks like. Discuss both these views and give your own opinion. This is what that question looks like. Now, some people say that you should have just 4 paragraphs where you put your opinion in the conclusion. But from what we know about about essay writing, normally your introduction is the first paragraph where you say what you paraphrase the question and then you give your response. Now, in your conclusion, you normally should just wrap up what you have said. You should not introduce any new idea to your conclusion. It means then that if your conclusion should be a wrap-up of what you have written, then you cannot necessarily develop your opinion if you are introducing it for the first time in your conclusion. So to help you, I have always trained my test takers, and I continue to insist that it is preferable, it is recommended that you have 5 paragraphs for the discussion essay. You have your introduction, you have the body paragraph 1 where you talk about the first view, you have the second body paragraph where you talk about the second view, you have the third body paragraph where you talk about your own view, and then you have your conclusion. Now let us look at the example that we have. But before we proceed to that, I'll give you a little introduction about who I am. My name is Adenike Babalola, and I have been training IELTS test takers since 2017. I have helped hundreds of people to achieve the results that they want in the IELTS test, so that they can study in the countries that they want to, they can work there, or they can live as permanent residents. These are the 3 results for the previous exams that I have taken. I took the first IELTS test in 2017, okay, when I was hoping to study for my master's in the UK. Now, this was in the writing for this one, I had a 7. This was academic, and I had a band 7. In the second test, which I took in 2021, writing was a 7.5. Now, the third one, which I took here in South Korea in 2024, that's January, I had a 6.5 in writing. I can't explain why this is 6.5 in writing, but instead of going for an EOR, I decided to look at the result from the perspective of somebody who wanted a band 7 or 7.5 in writing. Imagine that you hoped that you have a 7 or more in your IELTS writing, but then your writing is 6.5. That is extremely heartbreaking. It must be very disappointing. And so I think about all the people that have come to me and said, oh, they had good bands in the other ones, but they had 6.5, which is still good for nurses, right? But if you're a doctor or somebody who is going to study, or you need this for Canada, your writing has to be more than a 6.5. Okay, so let's learn how to master essay writing and focus on the discussion essay, so that if this is the question type that you see in your exam, you would write confidently and you'll be sure that you did the right thing. You'll be sure of a very high band score. Okay, now let's look at the example that I have written. First, I want to show you what your exam sheet would look like. This is what the IELTS Writing Task 2 sheet will look like You're going to fill in your information, the dates, the module, and everything. This is writing task 2. And then you have the second page, okay? You have the second sheet right here. And then you have the writing, criteria down here. The task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. Those are the things that the examiners use to assess you. And each of them is worth 25 marks. So for 4 criteria, you have 100%. And your goal is to make sure that you answer the question the way that you should. You make sure that you structure your paragraphs well, you use the right vocabulary, and your grammar is excellent. Now let's analyze my own example. So the question is saying some students want to study just one course, while others want to study more than one course, want to have more than one qualification. Now, do you agree with this? But it's not just asking for your opinion. It's saying, first of all, that you should discuss both views. So first of all, you discuss the views of those who say, study just one subject. And then you also have to discuss the view of those that say study more than one subject. And then you have to tell us your own opinion. What do you think? Okay, what do you think about this? I'm going to read my, sample to you, and then we're going to break it down together. All right? So this is my introduction. While certain undergraduates believe in dedicating their time to acquiring knowledge about multiple courses of study, others claim it is wiser to commit to a single degree. I uphold the view that multidisciplinary university education makes students more employable after graduation. That is the introduction, okay? I'm going to read the entire essay to you, and then we'll break them down one by one. So this is the first body paragraph. On the one hand, studying one course at university results in expertise. If a student focuses on a specific program, they become well positioned to master the fundamentals and practical dimensions of their study program. Learning about world languages alone, for example, helps a student to gain in-depth knowledge of the hundreds of languages in the world, as opposed to when they combine this research with subjects such as philosophy or political science. That's my first view. Now I'm going to talk about the second view. On the other hand, learning about several subjects leads to a more thorough tertiary education. When college students offer courses in different departments or faculties, they are better informed about a variety of topics and fields. Undergraduates in a faculty of humanities, for instance, who attend computer science classes are capable of understanding the intersection between science, technology, and art. Now, my opinion, this is the next paragraph. In my opinion, being qualified in more than one program accelerates a graduate's chances of getting employed. Due to their diversified knowledge, students can find jobs in a broad range of companies, organizations, and businesses. If a graduate adds skills and knowledge related to artificial intelligence, social work, and marketing, they could easily find employment in top consumer brands around the world. Now, the conclusion. Overall, majoring in one college program makes students experts in their field. Yet, students who expand their sphere of study are more knowledgeable and can get jobs faster. This is the essay I have written, and the total word count is 264. Remember that the question tells you to write at least 250 words. You have to write at least 250 words. Now, this is the sample that I have written, and I'm going to take them sentence by sentence so that you understand what to write at every stage of your question. Now, let's start with the introduction. The introduction of your writing task, to whether it is a discussion essay or a problem and solution essay or an opinion essay, is where you get to paraphrase the question. First of all, there is no way you can write the essay if you don't understand the question. And to understand the question, you have to express it differently to yourself mentally. So when you paraphrase the question, you're able to come up with other expressions that mean the same thing as the question itself. Now, this question is interested in students studying at the university, and it's a question of, should they study just one course or should they study 2, 3, 4? Okay, so some people say study only 1, others say study more than 1. Now, why do these people say study just 1? Why do the others say study more than 1? And you, what do you think? That is how you understand the question, and then you get yourself to write your introduction. So when you understand the question, you can write your introduction, and then the first sentence in your introduction should be your paraphrase of the question. And so in place of the question that I was given, I have written my own first sentence, and this is this is the first part of my introduction. While certain undergraduates believe in dedicating their time to acquiring knowledge about multiple courses of study, others claim it is wiser to commit to a single degree. What this means is some people say that you should study just one course, others say you should study more than one. That is what I have written in my first sentence in this introduction. But there is the second sentence as well, which shows my response. The second sentence that you include in your introduction is what shows what you think. And this is because it's a discussion essay. If you have other kinds of questions, your second sentence should be your response. What is your response to the question? And you can also you should include your points, the summary of the points that you're going to write about in your in the body paragraphs. Okay, now I'm going to read that sentence to you again so that you understand my own opinion. I said, I uphold the view that multidisciplinary university education makes students more employable after graduation. That's my view, which I talked about in the third body paragraph. But I'm showing this to you so you can know that your introduction has two fundamental, there are two basic things that your introduction should have. The first one is the paraphrase of the question, and the second one is your response, that the summarized points that you're going to talk about. You must state your response, and then you should give like a summary of the points that you're going to write on. That is what you have in my introduction. Do you understand it? Very good. Now, the first body paragraph is where I get to talk about the first view. Now, the first view, according to this question, is some people want to learn several subjects at the university. They want to learn more than one. That's one view. Now, the other view says they should, learn just one. They should study for just one qualification. Now, in my first body paragraph, I have given a reason for why some people want to study just one qualification. They want to focus on just one subject. Now, how do you develop your body paragraphs? There are three main elements that you should go by. The first one is state your points. What is the point that you're going to write about in that particular paragraph? What is that paragraph going to be about? That's the first thing that you do. Now, the second thing is to expand on that point. Okay, we know that you have stated the point, and this is not a bullet point. This has to be a short sentence, a simple sentence. It's called your topic sentence. Okay, so every paragraph normally, or every point, should begin with a topic sentence where you tell us what the point that your paragraph is going to be about. It's something that the examiner needs to see. That's the first sentence. Now, the second sentence is where you expand. You develop that first point that you have presented. So if you say something, if you say something in one sentence, you need another sentence to make it clearer. You're making it more understandable. So it's like a broader version of the topic sentence. That's why it's called a supporting sentence. Now, the third sentence that you need, which is the third thing that you need to do, is to make sure that you give an example for your points. So when you give your points in one topic sentence and then you expand on that point, you support that point in a second sentence, which of course will be broader or longer. It can be a complex sentence or a compound sentence, okay? Or a compound complex, depending on how you structure your wording. Your third sentence has to be an example. It can be a hypothetical example, something that is not real. It can be an imagined example, and it can be something that is actually happening in the world. Note that your example is not a personal experience. It's not something that happens to you or your relatives or your friends or your neighbors. It has to be general, something general. Look at what the question says. The question says, Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. So it doesn't have to be something about you. It just has to be something that you know about the world, or something that is just imagined, that is not necessarily real. Okay, so I'm going to read the first body paragraph, which talks about, or it gives a response, a reason for why some people say focus on just one course. Now let me read my topic sentence to you. The topic sentence says, on the one hand, studying one course at college results in expertise. This is when they study one course, they become experts. That's what that point is saying. But I have structured it I've written it in that short sentence. Studying one course at college results in expertise. Now, the supporting sentence is the second one that follows. If a student focuses on a specific program, they become well positioned to master the fundamentals and practical dimensions of their study program. That's the sentence I used to expand on it. It's saying that they are well positioned, they understand that thing better. But it is not enough for you to give your point and develop it. You need to give an example to justify what you're saying. And that example ties back to the point that you have made, okay? So I'm going to read the example right now. It says, learning about world languages alone, for example, helps a student to gain in-depth knowledge of the hundreds of languages in the world, as opposed to when they combine this research with subjects such as philosophy or political science. What I have said here is, if a student is studying languages at the university, for example, they are able to focus on that that program alone without necessarily combining it with philosophy or political science. This is my reason for why some people say that you should focus on just one qualification. But the job is not done. You have to go on to talk about the other people who said you should study more than one. Okay, and that's what you have in my second body paragraph. Now I'm going to read the topic sentence to you. When they learn about several things, they have a more thorough tertiary education. Their education is deeper, is more intensive. Okay, it means that they have touched on different aspects of things, and I build on that in my supporting sentence, where I say that if they take different courses in different departments, then they are better informed about variety of things. Now, what is the example that I used to back this up? Let me read that sentence to you. Undergraduates in a faculty of humanities, for instance, who attend computer science classes are capable of understanding the intersection between science, technology, and arts. So it means that, they are in the humanities, and we know that humanities is usually related to art and people and all of that. Now, you find if they take courses in computer science, then they are able to understand the relationship between science, technology, and art. This is the way I justify my point about studying more than one course and how it leads to a more thorough education. Okay, now let's look at my own opinion, the paragraph that includes my opinion. This is it. In my opinion, being qualified in more than one subject accelerates a graduate's chances of getting employed. Remember that in my introduction, I stated that, when they study more than one subject, they become employable. Okay? They are more employable after graduation. Okay, so now I'm developing that point in my own body paragraph. Now that's the first sentence. Now the sentence I used to develop it says, due to their diversified knowledge, students can find jobs in a broad range of companies, organizations, and businesses. Okay, it means that since they know a lot of things, they can be employed by different companies, different businesses everywhere. Now let's talk about the example that I use. If a graduate adds skills and knowledge related to artificial intelligence, social work, and marketing, they could easily find employment in top consumer brands around the world. So you see that I have pointed out some skills that this person has: artificial intelligence, social work, and marketing. I have used this sentence, even though it is just an imaginary example. I have said that somebody who has these skills and knowledge can be employed by brands around the world. Now the conclusion. Overall, majoring in one college program makes students experts in their field. This is a summary of the point I gave before. about why people should focus on just one. They become experts in that field. Nonetheless, I'm not stopping there. This is the continuation that includes my points, my summarized points. Yet, students who expand their sphere of study are more knowledgeable and can get jobs faster. This means that, of course, I've talked about this point before. I talked about the point of, if they know more, they can be employed by more companies. That is what I have summarized into this conclusion. So this is what your conclusion entails. I see that some people say that you can bring in your opinion to the conclusion and all of that. While it is possible, because we know that your conclusion should not have something new, it should not include any new ideas, it is advisable to put your opinion in a paragraph just before the conclusion, so that you don't leave the conclusion looking like something new, whereas the conclusion should only be a wrap-up of what you have written. Okay, so I have made this I've made this practical to show you an actual example, just to make sure that when you see a discussion essay question in your test, in your IELTS Writing Task 2 test, you know exactly what to do. Okay, so if you have any questions for me, please make sure you put them in the comment section. I would provide the link to a previous video that I did on this question type as well. Once again, my name is Adenike Babalola. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I'll see you in another video. Bye.